So season 2 of Ahsoka officially is wrapped. Like, we're getting all sorts of announcements from, like, Aman Esfandi, Natasha Liz Bordia. There's so many different things. They're just kind of like making these posts on Instagram and saying like how thankful they were for their 7 months of filming and living in London and all sorts of things like that. And so it's just kind of really cool to see, Mac, like, okay, this is really happening. Just like with Starfighter. And for whatever reason, I didn't feel this way with The Mandalorian and Grogu just because that production was so under wraps.
Right.
But with Ahsoka season 2 and Starfighter, like, you're seeing all these behind the scenes things. It just makes it feel a little more real to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as Star Wars fans, especially in the last few years, we're very used to there being projects announced and then we don't hear anything and they just kind of go away and never come out. Yeah. And so anytime we get official notice that something is in the can, like something really catastrophic would have to happen for us not to see Ahsoka season 2 at this juncture, so
World
it
War
is
III, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But but like you said, it's exciting that it's officially coming down the line for us. And I think Ahsoka is the show that was just begging to have some follow-up, like in the biggest way. I think the first season, while largely it was kind of putting a bow on some ideas and storylines from Rebels, it introduced so much cool stuff at the same time that it did that. So I'm excited that we kind of get to do mostly new stories now. Like we're really focused on that unknown element.
It also, just FYI, on our Patreon, we just last week recorded a bonus episode talking about a lot of Ahsoka season 2 rumors.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out if this conversation interests you. But since then, Bryce Dallas Howard has confirmed that she directed 2 separate episodes of Ahsoka season 2. And we actually have a quote from her in terms of her time directing on there. And I wanted to read it because I thought it was a really interesting quote, and I wanted to kind of just talk about it a little bit with you before we jump into The Mandalorian. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I figured. So this is what she said. I just finished shooting 2 episodes this summer for Ahsoka season 2. It is so good. It's beautiful. It's thrilling. It's adventurous. It's romantic. It's all the things you wanted from an epic story. So a lot of people, Mac, have kind of honed in on the romantic part. Uh-huh. Now, I think she just kind of means like romanticism, like in the sense of Star Wars is just romantic in itself, right?
Yeah, the things I think of that, particularly when dealing with Star Wars, that kind of the romance of it all means is like the sentimentality and nostalgia. Also, I almost think it's kind of an indication that. We may be going to the past and spending a lot more time with beloved characters that we already know and that kind of thing. I think it definitely means more of what you're saying. Like it's the romanticism of it all versus actually talking about it being like a love story focused television show or anything like that. However, this is the internet.
Yes. But let's go ahead and speculate on if she means like shipping. Let's go ahead and do that.
We're going on record saying we don't think that this is actually what the quote is talking about, but we're also going on record saying we're full steam ahead doing this anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the most obvious, like when you think of Ahsoka season 2 characters, I think probably the most obvious would be Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know there's kind of like sometimes they're brother-sister relationship type, but it's one of those like slow burn best friend relationships, I think. You know what I mean? Like I think that's where it's heading.
Yeah, I definitely think of a lot of couples who, are really good friends when they're kids and then grow up and that grows into something more. That's a natural progression for a lot of those kinds of relationships, I personally, I don't see it happening in a really concrete way. Like I don't think we're gonna see Ezra and Sabine like settle down at the end of Ahsoka 2 and live a happily ever after together. But I definitely think that those feelings between them, especially everything that we saw in Rebels, those are gonna have to be addressed in some way in the Ahsoka show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where my mind goes. It's like, I feel like that's probably, like, if we're talking romance, that's probably the most likely romance that would be in the show. Second most likely, and this, I didn't even think of this. Katie, dear friend of the podcast, pointed this out to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually great. What if it's a Kanan Hera flashback?
Oh, I like that. I mean,
would you be down for that?
I would, of course, be down for that. I mean, having our rebel mom and dad back, like,
come on,
it's kind of how it feels. The tragic love story that was cut so short in Rebels, spoiler alert. But to get more of that, and their relationship, they really never got the chance to fully explore their love for each other and to see what it meant.
Well, they did.
Well, I understand that Jason is on the scene. I just mean they were always
I know what you mean.
Were always fighting. All of that was done in between missions and in between battles, and
very much Cassian and Bix.
Yes, in a huge way. It's like the cause kind of kept them from getting to be together in the way that they really wanted to be. So to get more of that material, I'm of course on board for.
I think there's a way to have that romance without Kanan actually being in the show, where it's like just kind of this longing, yearning thing that Hera's doing for what she's lost. Yeah. And I think that, I mean, it's a sad version of it, but it's still romance and still romantic. Here's another one, Shin and Sabine.
Interesting. Okay.
I could see that happening.
Kind of an enemies to lovers type deal.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's probably it's down on the list of probability, but it'd be a really interesting story angle.
I don't know. I mean, when you think about their start, it is very Star Wars. I could see it. I could see it happening because I feel like Shin is gonna turn to the light. I do feel like that is coming. I feel like Shin is gonna end up with Ahsoka and Sabine in some way, where like Baylan just is off the rails.
Yeah,
do you think the opposite, or Baylan ends up with them and Shin goes off the rails?
So I think it would probably be the opposite. I think Baylan is much more of a Count Dooku-like character where, he is aligned with the dark side. He's got a red saber, all of that. Yeah. However, he's not just like the evil mustache twirling Sith that we're accustomed to. It seems like he's really got intentionality and some sort of almost altruism underneath his actions and stuff like that. So I could actually see him.
That's why I love him so much. He's such a great character.
He is a great character. But Shin seems like much more of that like power hungry apprentice. Like she doesn't necessarily understand the method behind what Baylan's doing. She seems more like that raw force that could be.
I could totally see if we go the Abeloth route. I could totally see Abeloth taking possession of her body
and her kind of becoming the avatar for Abeloth. I like that. Yeah.
I could see that happening for sure. Yeah. And then what about this one? Anakin Padme.
I actually think this is one of the most likely. I think
let's go.
Natalie Portman has been dipping her toes back into some genre film and stuff with Love and Thunder and all of that.
Made a lot of comments about Star Wars very recently.
And if we're talking about, to me, romanticism involves sentimentality and nostalgia and stuff like that. What's more nostalgic than Anakin and Padme's romance? And especially because like it's a given that Hayden Christensen will be in season 2.
He's in it.
So it's only just that one additional step of getting Natalie Portman in that
let's go. And then Ewan McGregor, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, let's do this. Let's get the gang back together. Man, that would be incredible. And Ewan's been talking about Star Wars a lot lately too, just like how he really wants Kenobi season 2 really badly.
Yeah, it seems like it's the galaxy far, far away has been on his mind recently as well. So
yeah, I mean, his wife is Hera. Like that's his wife in real life. So
that's very true. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we didn't actually get on mic to talk about Ahsoka today. We are here for another purpose. You're listening to Children of the Watch. I'm Mac Lacey.
And I'm Alex Maxwell, and today we are continuing the Mandalorian Rewatch to prepare for the next Star Wars movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu. We are rewatching every single episode of The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So if you're new to our podcast, we break down every single episode of Star Wars television, scene by scene, to analyze the story, find comb for Easter eggs, and explain how it all connects to the larger Star Wars universe. And we're doing that today for the season 1 finale of The Mandalorian. So if you've just now joined us, you can go back and start all the way. We actually started with the Art of books.
Yeah, if you really want to get technical. But the Clone Wars, we started doing breakdowns and through Rebels, and then we're finally in the Mandalorian. Tons of backlog to get caught up on if you're just now joining. But if you've seen the Mandalorian season 1, episode 8, then you are in the right place.
You're in the right place.
Breaking it down, talking about all the connections, anything you may have missed. And my favorite thing that has been true for the Mandalorian rewatch is that when you have the additional context of what happens in later seasons, it really changes and enhances the way that you watch this, or like the earlier material, before all of that lore had been added on and built out and stuff like that. So that's just been a really fun experience through this rewatch journey.
I really found myself enjoying this finale so much rewatching it. I was just like, there was a lot of feelings that were bubbling up in me, especially during like the TIE fighter scene. I was like, I remember how I felt watching this for the very first time, and it felt like I was watching it again for the first time. I just really loved this episode. I thought Taika Waititi did so good directing this episode.
Absolutely. And I mean, IG-11's like the role he plays in the events of this episode hit me in a bigger way too. I think just with the benefit of not having our expectations in crazy places and stuff like that, I was really able to just appreciate what they did with that character in this season, and also how it relates to Din. I think that's like some of the IG-11 stuff can seem a little bit extraneous or like superfluous, but I think it's really important because of the character work that it forces Din to do, and the arc that he kind of starts at the end of this season.
And Taika Waititi has gotten like a kind of a bad rep since Thor: Love and Thunder. Mm-hmm. One bad movie should not define somebody's career.
Never. If you look at anybody who's like in the greats, they've got a stinker somewhere. Like everybody. It's just and
I would say that's less on Taika Waititi and more on like Marvel Studios than anything, in terms of like just how many hands are actually on that project when it comes to a franchise like that.
Right.
Like even way more so than Star Wars. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for Star Wars, but like Marvel, there is a lot of cooks in the kitchen because they're telling that big grand story, and so you have less room to work with. So I'm not gonna put a lot of blame on him, because he also is the guy that directed Thor Ragnarok, and I really like that one as well. So like I think he's a very talented director, and I think he really shines in this episode in a big way. And like they say that his Star Wars movie is still happening. Like they keep saying that it's going to happen, and I hope that it does, because I would like to see him really do a movie and see what he does with that.
For sure, because he gets Star Wars, but then he's also got this original voice he's bringing to it. Because I think this season finale has a much different tone than any of the season finales for Star Wars television we've ever had. So a lot of the same beats are there that you would expect from the ending of a season, but there's this softness and understatedness to so much of what happens in this episode that, you know, I think that's a lot him. I think that's coming from him. So yeah, I want to see what he does with a feature film.
No, I think it's that
in
softness.
Star Wars. Obviously, he's directed so many films. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's that softness though that I really picked up on and found myself enjoying in this episode. Like there's just these beats that I think he just does really, really well. That like maybe other directors would just kind of glance over or not even do or like not even think about. But there's just these little moments throughout this episode that I feel like, man, he really gets it. He really understands what we're doing here. So. Yeah, that's the episode we're talking about. We're talking about episode 8, Redemption. It's not the Redemption, so Sanctuary and then Redemption. No the in front of it, whatever.
I still think, it should... It's implied. I think the is implied.
It's implied. We need to talk about whose redemption it is. I think there's several characters that I think it could apply to in this episode.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty much everyone.
Everyone's kind of going through some kind of arc, except for maybe Gideon. I don't think he's redeemed in any way.
Maybe from a certain point of view, he might be.
Okay, well, I guess we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. So, yeah, we want to hear from you guys, so you can call into our voicemail hotline, and you might make it on to our next episode, 205-259-6675. That's 205-259-6675. You can also follow us on social media at COT Watch. On Instagram and TikTok, especially, we're trying to make a big push over there. We're making reels and TikToks and YouTube shorts. We're on YouTube, so check us out and see what we look like if you've always wondered. And then you can be like, oh, God. And then click away. But just stay there for at least a minute, please. Please. And then give us a like. And then we're also on Patreon. If you want bonus episodes, patreon.com/The Mandalorian Watch. And you can check that out over there for just $2 a month. All right, so let's jump into Redemption. The air date for this was December 27th, 2019. Oh, man, we had no idea what was coming for us.
There was a new world later. Oof.
It really feels like the before, you know what I mean? Like a different, like AD, BC type thing.
Well, like 3 months after this, the world was a different place. It's crazy.
The director, of course, like we said, is Taika Waititi, and the writer was Jon Favreau. So let's jump into this. We open up on 2 scout troopers posted up outside of Navarro, just hanging out with the most important cargo in the galaxy. And this is Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned this before. I think we mentioned this on the last episode. I would have really loved these 2 characters to be recurring characters every season, just at least for an episode of just having kind of like a similar bit every time. I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah, because they play a very interesting function in starting out the finale for the most anticipated Star Wars project since the beginning of the sequel trilogy. Everybody's wondering, what is this going to be? At the culmination of its first outing, you begin the episode with 2 stormtroopers doing bits. And I think on a rewatch, it's actually an even better experience.
Yes.
Having this little, it's just an intermission. It gets, you get through the recap of everything that happened last week and then being reminded of the immense peril that our heroes are in and how high the stakes are. We've just lost Quill. Or is he lost? We don't really know, but we think so.
Yeah.
And all of that, and then 2 chums being pals, hanging out and getting through a shift. That's but I think it's a really good way to just it adds some levity. It's a way to ease back into the world without having to address all the high stakes stuff right away.
Right.
It's good. So I'm with you. I would have been in favor of them recurring and being a repeated comedic element in the show.
Yeah, it's just such a good bit. And then like Jason Sudeikis, of course, like blew up after. He was already big before this, like of course, from Saturday Night Live and several other movies and stuff. But like Ted Lasso hadn't come out yet. Right. So like to have him recurring in The Mandalorian and then potentially in The Mandalorian Grogu, I mean, come on.
It'd be a cool thing. And it seems like Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally maybe just kind of really wanted to be involved. And this is what they found for them. So I think even after his larger success with Ted Lasso and everything, I think he would have still come back.
Oh, 100%. And then like it's almost like those two characters in Pirates of the Caribbean, the two guards. It's very much that same archetype, and like you could even have them like join the Republic at some point. You know what I mean?
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, and
they
then
could defect in. By the time of Ahsoka, they're New Republic soldiers or whatever.
Exactly. They're just doing all sorts of different things throughout the galaxy. Oh well, what could have been? But yeah, so they immediately just prove why stormtroopers have the worst aim and the worst people skills. Like they're trying to shoot that can, they can't even hit it. This is just like every stereotype about stormtroopers in one right here.
Well, this is an extended version of that scene that we get in many different Star Wars movies, which is just a little glimpse of two guys hanging out at work that stormtroopers represent. Because they're not our heroes. They're not involved in this grand saga. They're just hanging out. Like, there's all kinds of I don't think they're good people. They're being there. Like if you're cool with being stationed on the Death Star, you're not great in my opinion. But like outside of all that, they're just dudes hanging out. And this is the extended look at all of that we
talking
don't
about
usually
T-16s
get.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I like this scene. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, so they've got Grogu stuffed in a little knapsack, and he's trying to peek out like, hey, I'm still here, like I'm still alive, please let me breathe. But the trooper just keeps smacking the bag, just brutal hits to
immediately
Grogu.
Becoming the most hated character in the Star Wars galaxy. Like he is at the top of my just despicable characters list, in my opinion.
Right. And over the comm link, they hear that Moff Gideon's already landed and literally wiped out a squad of his own men, which tells you everything you need to know about the guy. But also is like, I don't think that actually happens. It's like one of those like weird, like in the bit it's happening, but when you cut back to the scene of Moff Gideon, it's not happening.
Right.
So I think it's, again, it's also like, we're not supposed to take it that seriously, but I just wanted to point that out.
But if we do want to take it too seriously, I think we can extrapolate that this is not the first time that a different warlord has come in and assumed command. I think this is almost evidence that like what we've suspected is true, and that like the warlords are fighting each other for control and power still as much as anything. So Gideon is just like the latest in a whole procession of power hungry individuals coming to fill that vacuum.
Right.
That's again, we're reading too much into it, but that's what we do.
Right. That's what, of course we do. The two troopers start killing time the only way stormtroopers know how, by taking shots at a piece of junk nearby and missing every single one. They don't make one.
No.
I love the meta joke here about how bad Imperial aim is. And then one of them gets curious and wants to peek inside the bag. And when he does, Grogu bites him. Just instant karma for Adam Pally's character. And the guy starts punching the bag again, which just makes you hate him even more. Like you kind of hope that these guys get murked like they do.
Like because he did that. That's why we can't have them as recurring comedic characters, is because we immediately want them to die.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And then that's exactly pretty much what happens. Then comes one of the most satisfying moments in the show. IG-11 rolls in like a Terminator babysitter, calm as ever, calling himself the child's nurse droid. The troopers laugh him off, big mistake, and IG-11 just wrecks them both in about 5 seconds. One gets his arm twisted and slammed. I mean...
There's a bent speeder bike. One of the speeder bikes is totaled from this. Like,
yeah, because the other one gets face planted into it, and IG-11 picks up the bag, apologizes to Grogu for the violence he had to witness, and then speeds off like a protective metal dad, just right off. And then we cut to the title credits, which is just a great opening. I thought this was incredible.
It's great. It gets us back into like we ended last week with this sense of dread and peril. This gets us back into that adventurous mood.
Right.
Like, okay, let's check back in with our heroes. Let's get back in the fight. We're ready now.
Right.
I also just love IG-11 and Grogu's interactions. I love how Grogu looks when he's on the speeder bike and everything. And like IG-11 was just really weaving himself, worming his way into my heart this episode, this rewatch.
This is the best IG-11 has been and ever will be, in my opinion, is this episode. Back at the cantina, things are bad, with a capital B, bad. The Mandalorian, Cara Dune, and Greef Karga are pinned down by Moff Gideon and a whole squad of stormtroopers, and you can just feel the tension ramping up. And this isn't just another firefight. Like, Moff Gideon being there is a big deal, and you get that sense right away. Din's trying to figure a way out, and he tells the others that there's a hidden Mandalorian covert down in the sewers. If they can just find the entrance, they might have a chance. Meanwhile, outside, Gideon's troopers are setting up an E-Web heavy repeating blaster, basically just a tripod-mounted death machine.
Yeah. I actually went on a little tangent earlier when I was watching this episode, because in Star Wars, so many things are acronyms, right? Like an AT-AT. It's like an all-terrain armored transport, right? You've got a TIE fighter is a twin ion engine fighter.
Yes.
So I was like, what does the E-Web stand for? There's a couple of sources that'll say it stands for emplacement weapon. Like emplacement weapon blaster, E-Web, but really it's kind of just the E-Web. Like, E-Web it's not like an acronym or anything like that we're used to.
But it's not even shaped like an E.
I assume it stands for like energy or electronic or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It's interesting. Wait, and we'll go ahead and talk about this. Baked into The Mandalorian from season 1 are them repeating bits that already have happened. This happened in the very first episode. It happened again in the third episode. Yep. And now it happens again in the final episode, where they just get a big, like, Din gets a big heavy blaster and just goes to town on it.
Yeah, like...
or with it, not on it.
I mean, he's like behind it, goes to town behind it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of, I think, built into The Mandalorian is this self-referential thing, which, if I'm being honest, is probably my least favorite part of The Mandalorian.
I would agree.
I think it detracts from the things I love about The Mandalorian, which is the story, the characters, the world, that kind of stuff. But it's, it's fine. Star Wars does this. It's part of it.
Yeah, it's just like, find something else. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what we could have done differently, or like, I don't know. It's just, we've done it now twice already within the same season. Right. We're doing it again for a third time. And I know the E-Web's like bigger and badder than the other two that was used, but still. It's the same.
Also, just another note, for this scene, they really wanted the force that our heroes are facing to feel super overwhelming, and they did not have the resources necessarily to have that many stormtrooper outfits and extras and stuff, so they actually recruited a bunch of people from the 501st costuming societies. So those lucky individuals got them. They were so good at making prop armor that they got themselves into Star Wars. So, well, good on you, but also we're enemies a little bit.
They also, fun fact, filmed 1, 3, and 8 back to back.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
I see that. I can see that.
Yep. And that's where the heavy repeating blaster is in all three of those episodes.
It's in all three of those, baby.
So, yep. So, yeah. Kara's blasting at the floor, trying to open a sewer gate, while Greef watches the stormtroopers wheel up what's basically the galaxy's deadliest machine gun. Then Gideon's voice cuts in, cool and calm, over what sounds like a loudspeaker, but it's just him projecting.
I like to think he's got a built-in megaphone in his special chest plate armor.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. And this is the first time we really see how dangerous he is. He knows them. And that was a big deal finding that out for the very first time.
Yeah, because this is not a villain who is imposing just because of the might that he has at his disposal, right? He's scary and imposing because he knows more about our hero than we did at this point. We didn't know Din's name. Gideon was the first person, on screen who knows his name and says it.
Right.
And so I think, with Gideon's past as an ISB agent and coming up through that branch of the Imperial machine, it makes total sense that information would be his primary weapon, Yeah. But I love what that establishes for the villain of the show.
Oh yeah, he's such a good villain, especially like this version of him. Now there's an interesting thing. I want to talk about this because I thought about it when I was rewatching it this morning. I was like, ooh, that might be some confirmation right there. So let's do this. He calls out Cara Dune by name. He says Cara Cynthia Dune, like gives her full name. Says
like a parent when a kid is in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah. She says that she's an Alderaanian survivor and a former rebel shock trooper. Then he drops the big reveal. He knows the Mandalorian's real name, Din Djarin, and references the Night of 1,000 Tears and the Siege of Mandalore, which now we know are two separate events. The way that he says it here, and I think probably the way that it was originally imagined was that it was one event. We now know it's two separate events, actually like far apart from one another. Right. So it doesn't really make sense what he says.
Yeah. In my head, the Night of 1,000 Tears, and I mean, not now, but like when I heard this, it sounded like the Night of 1,000 Tears was the starting kickoff event for
I agree.
The Great Siege of Mandalore.
Yes.
So like that. I still think we could probably get into that continuity somehow. I don't know. We'll have to get into the weeds. It'll be easier when we're rewatching like season 3. It'll be easier to talk about.
Well, it's actually the Book of Boba Fett. I think that we get that information in that the best episode of The Mandalorian.
That's true.
In the Book of Boba Fett. No, but it's interesting. I think we need to try to find a way to tie those two events together.
Yeah.
In a way. So yeah, he says, he references both of those things, the Night of 1,000 Tears and the Siege of Mandalore, when Imperial forces wiped out entire Mandalorian units with those very same E-Web blasters. So maybe that's kind of what he's referencing. Maybe that's how we can fix it kind of in our head, like, in both events, they used these to wipe out Mandalorian recruits. Mm-hmm. Specifically in the Siege of Mandalore, maybe? I don't know. Like, because that's the last one that he says, but that doesn't really make sense because that was Republic. And
it was a long time ago.
Maul was there. Yeah.
Well, so I think I've solved it. I think they meant the Great Purge here, but they just didn't have that terminology worked out yet.
I agree. Yes.
And then the Imperial incursion on Mandalore is the Great Purge, and then
it starts with the siege. Yeah, it's like the Siege of Mandalore never ended technically, right?
I mean, the siege turned into the occupation of Mandalore, and then the Great Purge destroyed Mandalore.
It's the end of it. It's the end of the siege. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they just kind of have the wrong term here because they hadn't completely worked it out yet. Not no fault at this point. The story didn't exist,
Right.
But like I think in our heads we can kind of hear the Great Purge here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that. Thank you. No, that helps a lot. Then he even appeals to Grief, calling him Magistrate Karga. So there's a little bit of info on Grief's background. Like maybe he's a failed magistrate from a different planet, which makes sense in terms of his attitude. And then he goes into becoming a bounty hunter guild member. And then his redemption is he's eventually the magistrate of Navarro again. Like he becomes that. So like I would imagine maybe he was on a different planet, failed leading that planet, and then went into bounty hunting.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I love that for his character arc.
I do too.
It shows he's always had this leader in him, but then maybe he just wasn't able to live up to his potential for a while until the events of The Mandalorian that we see him go through. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, so like he calls him Magistrate Karga, maybe trying to play nice and like placate to him because he's thinking if anybody's going to turn in there, it's probably him.
Yeah.
But then he flips it saying that they can't trust him and that his only guarantee is his own self-interest. Like, you can't trust me at all. But here's what you can trust is that I'm going to do what's right for me. And what's right for me right now is that you come out and I'll let you come out. Yep. He then gives them until nightfall to decide whether to surrender or die when he levels the whole building. Inside the cantina, tensions are just sky high. Grief doesn't buy Moff Gideon's whole let's negotiate routine for a second. He's ready to make a last stand right there, but Kara's like, against an E-Web blaster? There's no way. They'd last about 5 seconds. So she's ready to fight her way out instead, but then Din drops Gideon's name. Din knows who he is.
Yeah.
So Gideon knows who he is, but Din knows who Gideon is. He says he's Moff Gideon, and Kara's shocked. Here's the interesting part. She thought Gideon was dead, executed for war crimes after the war. Was that a clone?
Yeah, it is. I think Gideon's been clones all the way down.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen the original Gideon.
No, I think this is the original one. I think, the one that is? I think the one that died maybe was like a clone in his play, or maybe it was the original one. It doesn't really matter, but I think it's confirmation that there's clones.
Yeah,
out there
for sure. That line definitely impressed itself upon me on this rewatch as well. Just knowing what happens in the rest of the show and all the cloning concepts that are going to be kicked around and everything. But yeah, that's really interesting and something that didn't impress itself upon me at all my first watch through.
Right, because you just assume it's like the fog of war type information where it's like, it's a big galaxy, people hear different things. And I think that's probably what it was originally supposed to be. Mm-hmm. But now we can, like, from season 3, it's like, that's probably a clone. Like, one of the Gideons did die, was executed for his war crimes. And now we've got another one.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So if he's alive, this guy isn't just some random Imperial holdout. He's a ghost from the worst part of galactic history. People know who he is. He's got a reputation in the galaxy. Din knows who he is and is very wary and cautious of him. There's a story there. I would love to know how like Din found out about Gideon, whether it's through the Siege of Mandalore and the Night of 1,000 Tears. Did he know him because of that?
He could honestly be Din may have never been in Gideon's presence or laid eyes on him before. He honestly could just know him by reputation from the stories that the Children of the Watch would have told kind of about their history and his involvement in that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's probably most likely. Like, I would love Lucasfilm. I would love to read a Mandalorian novel that takes place before season 1 where he learns about Gideon and like maybe encounters someone working for Gideon.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a story
he could almost be this kind of boogeyman character for the Mandalorians because of
what he did,
his part that he played in the downfall of their people, basically.
Exactly.
I like that just because it strengthens the stakes and the emotional conflicts happening here. Right. It makes Gideon personally way more important for Din and the rest of our heroes to deal with. There's almost like a vengeance kind of aspect in there. You look like you're dying to say something.
Gideon is to Din as what Din is to Jawas.
This mythological he's the devil in the Mandalorian cosmology.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That's fun.
Yeah. Then we get one of the most personal reveals of the entire season. Gideon knows Din's real name. I already said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yeah, Din Djarin, a name that he hasn't heard since he was a child, which is interesting. He hasn't heard that in a long time. He hasn't heard like his name been called. Now remember what we learned from season 3. Din is the last name, and Jaren is actually the first name because it's Din Grogu now.
Yeah,
And
it's
now,
like Japanese names use that order as well. It's like the surname is first, like your family name is first, and then your given name's second.
Yeah. So hearing the name just hits him hard because that means Gideon had access to all that information. Like that means he had access to the registars on Mandalore. And when Grief assumes he must have grown up on Mandalore, Din clarifies that he wasn't born there. Kara explains it perfectly. Being a Mandalorian isn't about blood, it's about the creed. And then we cut to, can you take me higher to a place where blind men see?
With arms wide open.
Well, I just heard the news today.
All right.
Seems my life is gonna change.
Now that we've gotten that out of our systems,
Divorced dad rock.
It's like I'm off track. You got me.
Creed, the Mandalorian Creed.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
it's more about
before the Mandalorian show came out, we were always wondering what direction they were going to take with it because, it's not like there's some EU materials in like early video games and stuff that almost treat Mandalorians like a different species, like they're not even humans. So we didn't know exactly how that was all gonna land with like, is this a group of people? Is it a just a way of life that you can adopt? And I'm so glad that at least for the Children of the Watch, it's the latter. I think that's so much more interesting. This, it doesn't matter where you come from as long as you're following, like kind of respecting and showing reverence for the culture you're joining. You're a part of it.
Yeah.
So I like that way better than if like you had to be born a Mandalorian or anything like that.
I think it's still like, I think there's a question on like, can Mandalorians even have children because of all the radiation on Mandalore and stuff? And, know, like we do know that they do because of the Wrens and stuff, like Ursa Wren and Sabine Wren. But like, I think adoption is like a huge, huge thing in Mandalorian culture, and it has been for a very long time. And I love that about Mandalorians is just that nature of found family and we're going to protect people who can't protect themselves. That's one of the better aspects of Mandalorianism that there is. Like, yes, it does come with the conquering of the galaxy and testing yourself through battle.
All the inherent violence and all that kind of stuff. But if we're already suspending reality enough to be in a sci-fi fantasy world, then we can kind of put aside our actual real moral opinions about violence and everything.
Right.
So
these are the good things. So
especially in a canon where like I think they've really kind of doubled down that Jedi is about birth in a lot of ways. I mean, I think Sabine is a huge exception to that, and what they're doing with her story. But like everything that happened with Rey in the sequel trilogy and all that, it's all about family and bloodlines. And so since that kind of got even further solidified that you are like born a Jedi or you're not, with some exceptions, I'm so glad that the Mandalorians at least have this. Like
it's
I
awesome,
think they have a better attitude about all of that than the Jedi. If you're being
100%, there's no doubt. Yeah, so that leads right into just an incredible flashback. We see little Din as a kid during a separatist attack during the Clone Wars, battle droids swarming his home, his parents hiding him in a bunker on Akventa, that's the name of the planet. They're killed when the droids breach it, and it's just as a super battle droid is about to fire on him, and boom, a Mandalorian warrior drops in with a jetpack and saves him as like a sweet guitar riff plays. It is. Well,
it's like
awesome. It's
the
aura,
thing. It's the
right. That's what the kids
aura.
say.
Yeah, as the kids say,
Aura
it's the same motif that is normally played on a flute, but played on electric guitar, which I think is cool, like Top Gun style.
I'll say this again. I said this in the Mandalorian and Grogu teaser breakdown that we did on a 90-minute or 90-second teaser. We did almost 90 minutes. How cool would it be if one of the villains that Din has to overcome one day is the guy that saves him out of this pit? Like, I think that would just be an incredible story. And not necessarily like because he's a villain, it's just that he's working for the other side. I think there's something very compelling about that. Like, give me an Ed Harris type person or Josh Brolin type person as that Mandalorian. Just, you know what I'm talking about? Like a gruff dude, you know?
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. I would love to see that as well. Maybe one day. Maybe
one day. But here's the thing: it's Death Watch that comes to the rescue here. These are
Monster
all Death
Energy
Watch.
logo and all. Yeah.
Yep. Recognizable by the blue armor and the Monster Energy thing on their armor. They're gunning down droids left and right, and one of them scoops up a young Din and flies him to safety. We get the same shot of kind of what happens at the end of this episode with Grogu and Din kind of, mirrored each other. And that's how he became a foundling, raised in the Mandalorian way after losing everything. And I think, of course, this draws a direct connection between Death Watch and Children of the Watch.
Of course.
Which came first, chicken or the egg? We'll see.
We have a whole episode, basically, that we did on that, I think, kind of leading up into the Mandalorian rewatch. So we've talked about it.
It's on there. You can find it. So after the flashback, Din finally opens up, really for the first time in the whole series. He tells Cara and Greef that he was a foundling, taken in and raised by the Mandalorians after the attack we just saw. When he came of age, he swore himself to their creed, and that's when he truly became a Mandalorian. And then he explains that the only place his real name, Din Djarin, ever existed was in the old registers of Mandalore. And that's how Moff Gideon knew it, because Gideon used to be part of the Imperial Security Bureau, the ISB, during the Great Purge of Mandalore. So again, part of me wonders, and I think we talked about this on that episode where we discussed Children of the Watch and their origin. If one of the reasons they don't take off their helmets is because of chain codes, and then what we see in season 2 of like, obviously, like their faces are all scanned and recognized. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't know who's who if you never take off your helmet. Is that part of the reason they went back to the old way, is just to kind of protect themselves from that information getting out?
I mean, I think it could definitely, that could be a specific thing that influenced the helmet decision. But I think the overwhelming reason behind the Children of the Watch and that kind of thing, and the new, I'm saying new, it could be older in
for
world,
us,
but new for us way of Mandalorians. I think it's a response to everything that's happened in the Clone Wars and Rebels. I think that's the best understanding of that, because they've seen so many different, kind of puppet leaders rise and fall and stuff like that. And they decided we got to go back.
We got to go further back. All the way back to the beginning. And maybe that's what Taika Waititi's movie will deal with too. Some older Mandalorians.
That'd be really cool. I mean, he is most involved in the Mandalorian side of things. The Mandalorian is one of the most successful things. So I would be surprised if they didn't try to capitalize
iconic
on
look now.
Exactly. I mean, everybody gets the T visor and the armor and everything like that. So, it could be cool.
Yeah, it could be really cool, actually. This isn't just personal. Gideon literally took part in the destruction of Din's people. It makes total sense now why Din tenses up at the sound of his voice. And when they step back and think about it, they realize something chilling. The only reason Gideon hasn't blown them all to pieces yet is because he still wants the child. He's waiting for Grogu. So that's what they realize. It's like, okay, they want the kid. So Din finally gets Quill on the conlink, except it's not Quill who answers. It's IG-11. And right away, your heart sinks because you know what that means. And IG calmly says Quill has been terminated. Just brutal. Still miss him to this day.
Yeah, I was still holding out hope that he could have been mistaken or something, and we could have seen him in the end of this episode or something like that. But alas, did not come to go that way.
Did not go that way. But then he adds in that classic deadpan droid tone that he's fulfilling his base function to nurse and protect the child. And then absolute chaos. IG-11 roars into town on a speeder bike like the Terminator meets Mary Poppins. He's just gunning down stormtroopers left and right, scout troopers at the gate, random troopers in the street, even a pair of troopers haggling with the Jawa. It's just wild.
It's like you can get some and you can get some. Everybody can get some.
I got some for everybody, baby.
I love watching him work. He's great.
He's good. Yeah, outside the cantina, the firefight hits full throttle. Kara jumps in with her heavy repeater, laying down serious cover fire. Din and Greef join the fight, blasting death troopers while IG-11, somehow still holding the child safely, takes a hit to the leg and keeps going. Din even grabs the E-Web blaster, the same weapon that wiped out Mandalorians during the Purge, and turns it on the Empire. And there is something poetic about that, I think.
It's like the Duchess weapon from Rebels in reverse, almost.
I was going to bring that up in this episode, actually. But then Gideon makes his move. He corners Din and shoots him in the head. Luckily, the Beskar holds. Then he blasts a crate of ammo right next to him, and boom, sending Din flying and seriously injured. Not really sure what is... I mean, it's a head injury, but we don't really see it, actually.
Right.
Kara drags him to safety while Greef and IG-11 and Grogu hole up inside. It's desperate, it's cinematic, and it's the first time Din truly feels defeated. Like, this is the first time, like, oh, like he might not make it out of this. So Gideon's had enough, and he gives the order to burn them out, which is just a classic villain move, by the way.
Yep.
Inside the cantina, things are getting grim. Din's down bad, major concussion, bleeding under the helmet. Kara even says that he got his bell rung, which is like an old football term of like, let's not call it a concussion, so that way we don't get in trouble.
I always think of it as like a boxing term. Like, you didn't get, you don't have brain damage. You just got your bell rung.
Get out
back
there
in the fight, kid.
Yeah. hit the middle one. Kara's doing everything she can to keep him conscious. Greef, ever the opportunist, convinces IG-11 to open up the sewer gate so they can escape. Din, though, he's already accepted he's not making it out. He's pretty much ready to die, and he tells Kara to leave him, protect the kid, and to show his tribe the little Mythosaur necklace so that they'll know Grogu is under his protection. And it's really, Mac, the most vulnerable we've ever seen Din up until this point. Like, he's still trying to be the protector, and like we fully see that in him in this scene.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, it's the first time that he really, I think, has accepted that he may not make it out of this one. Like, he's remained so calm, cool, collected throughout this entire season, kind of known what to do in any given scenario. And like, this is the first time that he's having to basically make contingency plans for him not making it out.
Right.
It's a great moment. It really shows you like what his priorities are, right? Because that's what in what he perceived to be maybe his dying moments, that's what he was making sure would happen after he was gone, you know?
Right. But then the real nightmare shows up. The incinerator trooper, red striped armor, flamethrower in hand, walking straight into the cantina like a horror movie monster. And everything's just on fire. Kara refuses to abandon Din, and it looks like this is it. But then Grogu steps up. This tiny little green hero uses the Force to push the flames back at the trooper, sending him flying out the door. And it's the kind of scene that makes you cheer and cry at the same time. Like, he finally did it. Like, he now, like, is protecting Din, which he did already in episode 2.
Right.
With the rhino, the mudhorn.
But that was also like a very instantaneous thing. This was like a conscious choice to protect the people that he loves now, and that have been looking out for him. So I think as much as Grogu can have a character arc for how old he is and stuff at the moment, I think that's a big part of it, is that just as he's seen Din do, risk his life time and time again for him, he feels that personal responsibility to do that in return.
I will say, again, we see this almost exact same thing in season 3 finale. It's just the bigger scale.
Yep.
And that callback is okay to me because it's like it's a callback to the season 1 finale. It's a different scenario, same thing. That one doesn't bother me, but I did want to point it out. Like it's the same type of thing. It's just bigger.
Yeah.
Right. It's more like a Super Saiyan type thing going on there. So Grogu passes out from the Emperor. IG-11 burst open the grate, and Cara, Greef, and the kid make their escape, but Cara makes IG promise to go back for Din, and that's when we get the moment probably of the episode. Din begs IG to end it and give him an honorable death, but IG calmly reminds him that he's not a hunter anymore, he's a nurse. And then comes the emotional loophole. Since IG-11 isn't a living being, he can remove Din's helmet without breaking the creed. It's quiet, no music, no grand speech, just this broken, bleeding man and the droid who was once his enemy saving him. Yeah. And it's really Din Djarin's first true unmasking. It's like not just literally, but emotionally as well. Like you see him come full circle. Now, could you do more with the droid stuff? Absolutely. I feel like you could have done way more had IG-11 been in every episode.
Right.
If IG-11 was in every episode and there's this tension between him and Din throughout the season, this moment would have hit even bigger.
Even bigger. I agree. And especially because there's not a real resolution to that character thread of Din's, in my opinion. Like he certainly has a big moment here, and like, but if it was just season 1, he's come full circle. He's like had his arc, but I don't think like we continue to see him exhibit poor attitudes towards droids continuing. It's not like it's I don't know if he's made a personal resolve to change anything about that or anything. It's just that he's able to open up to this one droid. Right. I don't know, but it's a really powerful moment. I think Pedro does a great job of, in the one moment that we're seeing his face in the whole season. I think it could have been a temptation to want to look nice for that, the one time your face, but he looks scared,
horrible,
vulnerable, tired. He's beaten, he's bloody. And when you pull that mask off, and of course we know what Pedro Pascal looks like, and the whole time we've known that he's the voice and everything like that. But if you didn't know any of that, you're imagining somebody underneath this helmet the whole show, and it's probably somebody really tough, really capable, really strong. Somebody probably pretty handsome.
Josh Brolin, Ed Harris type.
Exactly. But when the helmet comes off, it's just a dad. It's just a scared dad. And I think that's such a powerful way that all goes.
Yeah, it is really. I like this moment a lot, and I thought it was kind of a cool workaround, which we'll learn in season 3. Mandalorians have a lot of loopholes to the rules that they just go with. Like if there's a loophole, they're going with it. You drop the Darksaber, you're now in charge of all of Mandalore if you pick it up. So that's okay.
They love some technicalities, I think.
They really do. So after that brutal firefight, IG-11 and Din finally catch up with Cara, Greef, and little Grogu in the tunnels. They're beat up, burned out, and desperate for a way out. Greef, ever the guy with a half-baked plan, suggests taking the lava river to the surface, but Din's not convinced. He knows the Empire too well. If there's a way out, they're already waiting for them. They're essentially trapped. They're just buying time. Instead, Din leads them deeper to the Mandalorian covert, and when they get there, it's devastating. There's helmets, there's armor, piles of Beskar, all left of his people. Din kneels beside them. It's quiet. It's like a graveyard. It's kind of shocking, honestly. Like, that many Mandalorians got taken out by the Empire. And the only way that it really makes sense in my head, unless they're just not as good as I like to think of them, is that there's like a little Duchess machine that they employed.
It almost kind of looks
that way,
to be honest, because like they're just gone. Like, I know the armorer has been working and stripping everybody of their armor because she has this almost shamanic duty to ensure that like Beskar, their legacy lives on in the form of their armor, that all of that's collected, melted down, and forged into new equipment for foundlings. And that's like a spiritual duty for her, and she's going about it like that too. I think for someone else it'd be obviously she's grieving and she's devastated and she's sad, but that's not the emotion that's on the forefront with her in this scene. I don't know, I really like the character of the armorer. I like the reverence for the ways that they do things, and the for the creed and the way.
I will say, like, my speculation brain, even when I was doing this rewatch, and I remember when I watched it the first time too, I still have this kind of like, do we trust her in the back of my mind, always with her. I think we can take her at face value. I'm saying this for everyone on the podcast. I do trust the armor. I do think we can take her at her word. But they write her in such a way of like, if you ever wanted to make her turn, it is so easy.
Yeah, she could do it on a dime, and it would be believable and everything like that. But as it stands, I think she's almost like this beacon of truth throughout the show. Like, she kind of has this perspective that none of the characters that are she if we're talking about the hero's journey and like the Joseph Campbell of it all, she's playing the part of the wizard. Like, she's Merlin, she's Obi-Wan in A New Hope. Like you said, it's she's the character that's a little bit outside of the actual events of the story. It's not like she's every episode there on the front lines fighting beside Din and stuff like that, but she can give like timeless perspective to the characters because of her position being outside of the events of the narrative a little bit. And
she plays dumb a little bit. Like, she knows way more than what she's letting on, but like to just add to like the spectacle of it all. And we appreciate it because it makes it feel like Star Wars when characters don't reveal all the information. Like, they've got a lot more information that they're not sharing, and they want to be mysterious and cool. Yeah, always be mysterious and cool. That's what I say in life. It's like, you got really important information, don't share it. Be mysterious and cool, and be very vague and like prophetic almost in how you deliver that information. I think you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck.
Yeah, intimacy and vulnerability, that's out.
No,
projecting aloofness in. That's
not aloofness, but like talk like an oracle to everyone that you encounter, and people would be like, God, this guy,
evasiveness.
This girl is incredible. Like, it just you can't go out tonight. Instead of saying something like, yeah, I don't feel like it, say, I'm required here.
The omens do not portend that it will be
exactly. Say something like that. Make that normal, you know? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, all these dead Mandalorians, you can feel the guilt. It's just like he led the Empire right to their door. Like, he's the reason that they're all dead. And when he asked if Grief's guild had a hand in this, Grief admits that his people just ran. It's one of the first times you can hear actual regret in Grief's voice, where it's like, okay, maybe he's actually kind of sad about this, and we can trust this character. And then the armorer steps out of the shadows, cool as ever, still working like nothing can shake her. She vouches for Grief and lays it out. The Empire came after Din, took the child, and those who stayed died fighting. Some might have escaped, most didn't. is this perfect mix of tragedy and resilience. She's still there, still doing her duty, still keeping the Forge alive. But I like to think that maybe they had a little like Duchess weapon that they employed because they're like, there's way too many Mandalorian. Let's just turn this thing on.
Yeah. But maybe it's like a single use something.
Yeah, like you can only use it one time.
Yeah, that's why they don't just fry in every episode.
Exactly. Yeah. In the smelter, we get one of the best conversations of the season. And it really sets up season 2. Like this whole sequence is really just to set up the next season.
Absolutely.
And I love it for that. She asks Din about the asset, and he shows her Grogu, tiny, sleepy, adorable, and responsible for all this chaos. And Din explains that the child even saved his life. The armor calls back to the Mandalorian legend, the ancient battles between Mandalore the Great and the Jedi, whom she calls sorcerers.
Yeah.
And it's the first time someone in universe connects Grogu's powers to something larger. Like, this is it. Like, she, again, this is kind of what we were talking about. She's aware of what this is. She's speaking in riddles. She could just say Jedi, but no, she calls them sorcerers and stuff. Like, right. I love that. And it goes to what you've always talked about ever since we've done this show, is the re-mysticization.
What is it you say? Or mythologization.
Yeah, something like that.
Making Star Wars like mythological again is the crux of it. Because watching the original trilogy, there's this feeling of like an immense history and things happening way beyond the events that you're watching in this moment, you know, and the mystery of these different groups and like, you know, what does it mean to be a Jedi? Oh, a Jedi Knight. There was a whole order of these people and like all that kind of stuff. And of course we love adding lore and explaining things and learning the intricacies of different aspects of Star Wars. But it's always important to then add new mysteries, right? And I think The Mandalorian has done that in an incredible way with, you know, we can look outside of the Jedi and the Sith and the Force for these more fantastic elements, like the fantasy aspect of Star Wars, because it's never been science fiction. It's always been a space fantasy, you know?
Right. I just love it. I love this scene so much. It gave me all the goosebumps, all the chills.
Yeah.
When Din asks if the child is their enemy, she delivers that perfect line, calm, absolute, steeped in creed. Like Emily Swallows does such a good job delivering these lines, dude. Like, she's so good. She says, "It's kind we're enemies, but this individual is not." Like, it just, I love it. I love the way she says that. And then she says the thing that changes everything: he is a foundling. By creed, Grogu is now Din's to raise. You can almost hear Din's brain breaking at the thought of finding a clan of enemy sorcerers, but she says it again: this is the way. Now, this is where, Mac, you can play the armorer's intentions either way.
Right.
You can play it straight, like it's, I think you're meant to, of like, I think she's a good person and she's saying like, this is what we do as Mandalorians. We take care of people.
Yeah.
But you could also like political minding, like, is the armorer thinking, we've got a Force user now again. We're raising this thing.
Like we Tar Vizsla Part 2. Let's run it back, baby.
Exactly.
The Great Mandalore. Nah, there's gonna be a second one.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it can play either way, and both actually could be true at the same time too. I think.
Yeah, I think that's true too. But like. I tend to, you know, I believe the armor. I think she's on our side for what it's worth. But I do love the possibility, and just not knowing is half the fun of it.
It is half the fun. So she gives them the escape route, the lava river that will take them topside. And then in the most symbolic moment of the whole season, she gives Din his signet, the Mudhorn, and says, "You are now a clan of 2. That line gives me chills every time, by the way.
Oh yeah.
It's simple. It's everything the show has been building toward. Din isn't just a warrior anymore. He's a father. He's a protector. The whole dynamic of the show changes from here on out. That's why we're getting the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's why it's called that. Yeah. Before he leaves, she also gifts him with a jetpack, the final piece that completes him as a true Mandalorian. It's both practical and poetic. He's finally earned the right to fly, but I got nervous the first time he got a jetpack because anytime you see a jetpack on a Mandalorian, it spells their doom.
The jetpack theory. We've talked about it for a long time. I think it was one of the first things we ever talked about on this podcast, honestly. It was our very first Mandalorianism 101 episode. Yeah. But yeah, historically, when a named main Mandalorian character gets a jetpack on, it spells doom for them. Boba Fett, the whole reason he ended up in the Sarlacc pit was because
Jango Fett.
Yeah, Jango Fett, his jetpack went out, and I think that's why he lost his head. Just any number of countless Mandalorian
Ahsoka.
fodder in the Rebels show that just get exploded in midair.
Ahsoka was cutting those jetpacks in the season. Mandalorian. Just
for sure.
That's what she was aiming for. She knew about the jetpack theory and was like,
yeah, she's
vulnerability.
also a subscriber to the theory.
Yeah.
But so, whenever the jetpack was introduced, I got a sinking feeling in my stomach.
Yeah. Then comes the Forge fight, and this is so cool. Stormtroopers pour into the Enclave in the armor without much armor plating, without blasters, just absolutely wrecks them with her tools. She's crushing helmets, breaking limbs, shoving one into the smelter. It's pure silent fury.
Yeah.
She is like the embodiment of a Mandalorian to me. Like, she's just incredible. When she smacks that one stormtrooper and the whole bottom plate just goes away.
Yeah. It's like if they didn't have a helmet on, their jaw would be separated from the rest of their head. This fight, is it necessary for the events of the plot and the narrative of our main heroes? No. Is it worth making the entire show of The Mandalorian so you can put this scene on the screen for our enjoyment? Absolutely.
Yes.
So like some things don't have to be necessary for the plot. Sometimes the plot can be a tool to get sweet armorer fights.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, let's not forget what we're watching here.
Yeah,
this is Star Wars, man.
It's in the name.
It's in the name. So yeah, after that armor scene, that quiet, reverent moment where Din just becomes part of a clan of two, we jump right back into the tension. The group finally reaches the underground lava river, and it's kind of eerie. It's given some eerie vibes down there.
Yeah.
Everything glows this molten orange, reflecting off their armor, like they're kind of descending into like hell a little bit. Like I think that's kind of like what we're supposed to take from here.
The river Styx and like the journey to the
Greek
underworld, and that's the whole thing that it's given to me, especially with the character that we're going to be introduced to in a second, the ferryman character.
Droid. Yeah. I love this droid. I
don't like it. Something about it creeps me out so much.
If I had an R2 unit, I would want this one to follow me. Like this.
No, I think the R2 unit is screaming in there like, I'm a monster. Put me out of my misery. I think the R2 unit, either that or it's like become crazed with power. I have hands. I'm unstoppable.
Imagine R2 with hands and like the war crimes or Chopper with hands.
Chopper with hands, the galaxy's dead. Everyone in the galaxy, I think. Like if he could
he'd be worse than the Emperor.
He would be the Emperor. Emperor Choppertine.
Choppertine. Oh man. Okay, yeah. So they find this strange lava boat half melted and piloted by what looks like a fried fairy droid. Kara, never one for patience, just blasts the thing loose and somehow it comes back to life. IG-11 translates its robotic chattering, the droid asking where they want to go. Greef in classic Greef fashion just says, take us downriver toward the lava flats. Easy enough, right?
Yeah.
The visuals here are just stunning. They're gliding through this glowing river. The only sound is the slow drip of molten rock and the hiss of heat. Then Din's helmet scanner pings something ahead. It's a full platoon of stormtroopers waiting at the tunnel's exit. Just total ambush like we expected.
Yeah.
Kara tells the droid to stop, but it ignores her, so she blasts its head clean off. Honestly, you can't blame her after what you said. She probably doesn't like the way that it looks either. And she freed that droid from its entrapment.
It's a comatose state.
But now they're moving too fast. There's no cover, no exit. They're cornered again, and that's when IG-11 makes the call. He tells Din that he'll take care of the troopers while the others escape. Din pushes back. We're outgunned. But IG-11 has already calculated the odds. He knows they're not getting out of this one together. Then comes one of the most human conversations in the whole series between a man who's forgotten how to trust and a machine who's learned how to care. Matt?
Yeah.
IG-11 gently tells Din to look after the child, and this is what he was made for. Din, trying to hide the emotion in his voice, says, "We need you." And IG-11 replies, "I've never been alive." Which is just, I love that line delivery.
I love it too, because it's also just like objectively not true. Because like if learning how to love people and then making the decision to sacrifice yourself to protect them and to make sure that they make it safely, like what's more alive than that? You know, like what's more human?
Again, I think if IG-11 had been in every episode, this hits harder, especially like right here.
Yeah.
I still like my biggest criticism of The Mandalorian, I will say, is bringing IG-11 back. Mm-hmm. Not needed at all. Like, I think it's egregious bringing him back. He's clearly, what happens in this episode, he's destroyed totally.
Yeah. Like he's got the resolution to his story. He's good here.
Just make it IG-12, like make it his brother with the same exact voice.
It could literally be, or even just like, oh, there was this one part of his like memory bank that survived that somebody could put in like a completely different. I don't. The rebuilding aspect of it is.
That's the problem of it.
Yeah,
they actually do rename him IG-12, don't they? That's what they do.
It's been so long. I think they do. Oh my goodness.
But the thing is, Mac, is like there's IG-88 out there, so you would assume that there was already an IG-12 somewhere else. So
well, also,
how dare you name him that?
What do those designations even mean? Because 88 precedes 11, unless 11 was just built way before 88 and it has just been hanging around.
That's what I imagine.
So I don't know. Like, is it a different model slightly? Is it? I have no idea. I think they didn't think as much as we're thinking about it right now. So
that's why they need us in the room. That's why they need us in the room where it happens, Mac.
Like they have better people than us in the room talking about more even more intricate details of things.
I know, but they just need us in the room to be like, we'll mention that on the podcast. And they're like, okay, geez.
Well, fine.
We'll change
just
it.
Bully. Just to be bullies.
Yeah, so the line hits harder than it should because in a way, he has been alive, like you said. He's changed, reprogrammed, reborn, and now sacrificing himself for the family he helped save. Din tries to hide it to pretend it doesn't hurt, but you can hear it in his voice. Like Pedro's very clearly voice acting in a way of like, oh, no, don't leave. And this droid, the same model he once feared, once shot in the head, has earned his trust. And then IG-11 wades into the lava, very much like the Terminator 2. Same exact thing happening here.
Just if they had made him do a thumbs up, I wouldn't have even questioned it at that point. I don't think. I love the music for the Terminator.
Good.
It's so good.
Do.
That's supposed to represent the heartbeat of the machine. That little that drum thing.
Yeah. I think Kyle Reese as a character concept is incredible, where John Connor, best friend, goes back in time to protect his mom and ends up becoming his dad
and helps conceive his best friend in the future.
Like
what? Also, if he had managed to come back into the future where John Connor was an adult, if Kyle Reese was not just dunking on him, and you know exactly the joke I'm talking about. We're a family-friendly podcast, so I'm not going to make it, but you know exactly the one.
I'm about to make it. It's that Saturday Night Live sketch with Justin Timberlake and Andy Samberg.
Exactly.
I'm a mother lover.
That's enough.
You can go look that up on YouTube.
Yeah. If you're 18 or have your parents' permission, those are our caveats.
Yes. But that's totally what I would do if I were Kyle Reese. Come back and be like, I'm your dad. You're grounded, son.
Just dunking on
and
Jesus
he's younger
Christ,
than John Connor.
because that's what John Connor is a stand-in for.
But that's the brilliance of that concept, is John Connor's his mentor.
Yeah.
And kind of like his dad.
Well, it's like, because I mean, John Connor is supposed to be like, he's a Christ figure, like in the literary sense, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, Kyle Reese going back in time, but that's almost like the Immaculate Conception. Like it's like Anakin, right? It's me talking to Qui-Gon and be like, there was no father. I gave birth to him. I raised him. It's
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
how do you say that Kitster went back in time and became your dad? You can't explain that, so you just tell people there was no father.
Oh man.
You can't explain that. How do you explain that to Qui-Gon in the moment? You can't. So you just say,
do you see that 8-year-old over there? Oh, no. How did we get here, Alex? Anytime, it's like when we hit that hour 15 mark on the recording timer, it's kind of no rules after that. Let's see if we can make it through this episode.
Okay, so yeah, he's walking across the lava. The others watch as he walks straight towards the waiting troopers. He pauses just long enough to deliver one last line, calm, final, almost peaceful. My manufacturer's protocol dictates I cannot be captured. And then he self-destructs. The explosion ripples through the tunnel, taking out the entire platoon and clearing the way to freedom. And again, if they had done, like we talked about in the very first rewatch bit, where like if that was a running bit all season of like he just can't wait to blow up and then he finally gets to do it.
Like he could have, like, I mean, it takes away a lot of the emotional undertone of it, but like, what if he was really excited to do it? Like, what if changes the tone a little bit? Yes. But like, he seems so eager to do it in chapter 2, right? It's like at the slightest inconvenience, he's like, well, time to blow myself up.
I'm out.
So like, what if he was like trying to do it all season, and then he finally no one could stop him from doing it because it was the only way.
Now would be helpul for you.
Actually, you can go ahead and do that, please. Thanks.
And or to give the emotion back. What if he's like, I don't want to, but I will.
No, that's worse, I think.
Yeah, it is. So it's quiet after that. No cheering, no victory music, and just the sound of lava bubbling as the smoke fades. Din, Cara, Greef, and Grogu float into the open plains, alive because of a droid that was once built to kill him. So as Din and the crew finally make it out into the open plains, they barely have a second to breathe before Moff Gideon's Outland TIE fighter comes screaming out of the sky. Thank you.
We did great impressions of TIE fighters.
It circles around like a predator, strafing the ground with blaster fire. And honestly, the sound design here is incredible. It always is. It's one of my favorite things. Grief, ever the optimist, decides maybe the little green guy can save the day. He literally waves Grogu toward the sky and's like, "Come on, kid, do the hand thing." Kara looks at him. Grogu kind of looks at him like, and then
when he even waves his hand like Grief's doing, just being like, "What do you want from me?"
Yeah, no dice. Not working.
I do not control the magic yet. I can't just.
Right. Yeah. So Din does what he does best. He straps on that brand new jetpack and takes the fight to the sky. And the whole sequence is just pure Star Wars magic here. Din firing up the jetpack for the first time, flames bursting beneath him, rocketing up towards the TIE fighter. And you can feel how unstable he is with it. He's not Boba Fett with, well, maybe he's just as good as Boba Fett with it.
Like he might be better than Boba
Fett. But you feel the adrenaline, the desperation, the instinct of it all just kicking in. And then he fires his grappling line, latches onto the wing, and suddenly he's clinging onto the side of a moving TIE fighter. And I remember watching this whole sequence, Mac, thinking, this is a Star Wars TV show.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
How?
Like, we've never seen this in live action before.
Yeah, I mean, cinematic quality is what we're looking at. It's I don't think... since I think we've seen better shows because Star Wars has made even better looking shows. But at the time of The Mandalorian coming out, there's incredible. A lot of visuals that are unrivaled for TV, I think.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. So Gideon tries to shake him loose, rolling the ship like he's in some twisted pod race. Din can't get in the cockpit, so he improvises, slaps a detonator onto the hull, and the first one gets tossed, but the second one sticks, and then boom. The TIE spirals down, crashing in hard into the desert. It's the kind of victory that feels earned, not clean, not flashy. It's a very Indiana Jones style sequence to me, where it's Din is not a Jedi. He's not clean with it, but it's he gets the job done.
Yeah. He has some stumbles. He loses that first detonator, that doesn't stick and stuff like that. It's not an easy win, Right. It's not an easy fight, but he makes it. It does, now on this rewatch, I felt a little bit like the IG-11 thing was honestly more climactic than the ending, what happens with Gideon, right? Just the TIE fighter going down and everybody's cool. Obviously, there's more to it than that, with season 2 and 3. But I almost would have put the IG-11 thing after the TIE fighter thing, just in the emotional pacing of it.
Interesting.
Narratively, it doesn't work really well, but visually, the action, the everything's just really cool.
It's the best, dude. I love this episode. So Din touches down and rejoins the others. Grief, ever the showman, is like, your bounty rates just went up. Oh my God, you're incredible. Classic Cargo. Kara and Grief decide to stay behind, clean up Navarro, make it something new. Grief even offers Kara a spot in the guild, which is hilarious because, she'd just never sit through a meeting. She would not do that.
No.
Then comes this quiet farewell. Kara touches Grogu's ear, tells Din to take care of him, and Grief quips that maybe the kid will take care of him. Or just maybe that kid will take care of you.
I think that'll probably come to pass.
Probably. And then I love this moment too. Din buries Quill, that small wordless moment that says everything.
Yeah.
The man who once said, "I have spoken," doesn't get dialogue, doesn't need it. Din stands over the grave with the child, paying respect to the friend who made this new life possible.
Because not only his initial sacrifice that actually, takes his life, but he built IG-11, which also, or rebuilt and retrained and taught IG-11 how to love and be, give of yourself for the people around you. So without Quill, none of that happens. And I think also the spiritual, lessons that Quill taught Din, I think are felt this season and in the following seasons. I really miss Quill. I wish there was a way that he could have.
Like, if you're going to bring anyone back, bring that guy back.
Exactly. But as it stands, I like his full story.
I do too.
Like, wish we could have had more of it. But I like where he ends up.
I do too. So, and then one final gesture, Din gives Grogu the Mythosard necklace, the same symbol of Mandalorian legacy that the armorer gave him. It's a sign that the child is now part of his creed. It's his clan, his family, and the Razor Crest lifts off, not triumphant, but transformed. Din isn't a lone bounty hunter anymore. He's a father, and he's got a mission. Now it's to find his people. It's to find Grogu's people. But then when you think it's over, we get kind of like a post-credit scene without it being post-credits. We cut back to the wreckage of Gideon's TIE fighter, and a few Jawas are already picking it apart because, of course, they are. Yeah. And then that hum. That unforgettable low vibrating sound.
Yeah.
A black blade cuts through the hole, and Moff Gideon climbs out holding the Darksaber.
Well, they got the really like high pitched trilly sounds of it right too. They really made a meal of the sound design on the Darksaber. They were like, we got to make sure everybody knows this is the one. Like this ain't no replica. This is the one.
Yes. And it's the kind of reveal that makes Star Wars fans' jaws hit the floor, right? I remember watching this for the first time. I was like, oh, whoa.
Right.
He's got the Darksaber. How did he get the Darksaber? Like, all these questions were going through my mind, and the implications of him having the Darksaber were huge because, we had seen Clone Wars and Rebels, and if you hadn't, it made me and you really excited because they're like, let's go. People are going to be looking for a podcast to explain this. Let's go.
Exactly.
It just opened the door to so much more for the show.
Right. And like this is it's the perfect choice too for a little cliffhanger hook type deal because this is something that makes total sense to be in The Mandalorian. If we're dealing with Mandalorians and Mandalorian culture, the Darksaber is absolutely part of that conversation, but it's something we never in a million years would have expected Moff Gideon to just have, and the implications for what that means that he does have it for going forward and like how much more of a threat he is than we even thought. I think it's a perfect choice.
Because then I think we realized at the times like that means we're getting the story of like Bo-Katan because she had it last. Like Sabine gave Bo-Katan the Darksaber at the end of that arc in Star Wars Rebels, and she held it over Mandalore. Well, what happened? How did Gideon get the saber? What does that mean for Bo-Katan? Is she still alive? Like, we didn't know at this point what was going to happen, but we knew that we would probably get that story, and that made it so much more exciting. And here's the thing. We still don't have fully, like, how did Moff Gideon get the Darksaber from Bo-Katan story? Right. Like, I think it's hinted at a lot, and it's talked about, but we haven't, like, seen that or really had that fully explained just yet. So I think there's potential there for like comics and books and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, but what a finale for this season. I think it, just really put a bow on such an incredible debut for this show, and not only for this show, but for Star Wars television in general. Like this season proved that Star Wars works just as well, if not better in some respects, on television than, on the big screen. The depth of storytelling and stuff available, I think, it was a great proof of concept for that. I don't know. It's a great, just a great season of TV. That's all I got to say about it.
Dude, I think it changed Star Wars forever. The first season of The Mandalorian did. Without this season, we don't get Andor season 2. Like that doesn't happen. And I don't know what the future of Star Wars television is. I know that it's still going to be on television. Will it be less live action shows? Yeah, I think Probably. So. I think I think after Ahsoka season 2, I think we're getting one more. And I think I think this is probably a smart move. I think it will be like that's the only one we're sticking with until we're done, instead of doing all these different ones, and then like really fill the space with animated shows. I think that's a great model. I think you should do that. Like have one live action show, one animated show, and then a movie coming out every 2 years. I think we're golden. Yeah,
for sure. Well, I have been really enjoying the Mandalorian rewatch. I'm so the banner that Alex just put up on YouTube is very funny. But thank you all so much for being on the journey with us. We are going to be continuing, right into season 2, and then the Book of Boba Fett, and season 3, and
some special guests joining us on some episodes. Not every episode, but we might have some friends on to break down the episodes.
Yeah. So look forward to all that kind of stuff. But if you like what we do, you can check us out on Patreon if you want to support us financially and get access to all kinds of bonus content. We've got over 100 bonus episodes on there that you'll get access to, in addition to our awesome Discord community. So if you want to check that out, for just $2 a month, you can head over to patreon.com/Mandalorian Watch. And then you check us out on all the socials, interact with us there. If you'd leave a like and subscribe on YouTube, that would help us out so much. I'm
thinking about that Kitster thing. I explained this to Qui-Gon.
So Kitster,
there was no father.
He's actually from the future, but he was in the past. But
not that one. An older one.
All of that. But we'll be back next week. Leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that kind of stuff. We'll be back next week with the start of season 2. Are we going right into the season 2? I think so. I think we're just going to keep the train moving. What?
Be on our socials just in case.
Just in case we decide to pull an audible.
In case we need to do a Kitster as Anakin's father episode in between.
A whole episode on that theory.
Break that down, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as of now, we'll be back next week with the beginning of The Mandalorian Season 2. But until then, keep the watch.